A palmistry reading of a 34-year-old male. We will be reading his particular hand. And before I start my video, I would request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and do not miss another update. You can call me or you can email me. These are the email and the phone number that I mentioned so that you can connect with me. And now we straight away head to this particular hand image. Uh, the I would be talking about the most important aspects of the palm, and one by one I would be going to each and every line of the palm to explain to you what basically I see. Each and every generally people think that the money line is the most important line as far as money goes, but that's only a partial kind of a reading. Money line in itself is tells a very little about how much money we might have, because this is the main question many people have. That's the reason I'm just starting at this right at the start. So apart from the money line, you can also come to know about money, possessions, wealth, position, and power from almost each and every part of your palm. It's not like only one line can depict one particular thing, only one thing. It can depict many other things as well. So first thing that we are going to take up is the first finger, the finger of Jupiter, and the lines under it. This is the headline and this is basically the lifeline. You would notice that few lines are going backward, pointing towards the mount of Jupiter. This is the mount of Jupiter. Jupiter is a big planet. Big planet means growth, expansion, honor in one's life. So if the lifeline is kind of originating from the mount of Jupiter, it basically signifies that the person is going to be person's life is going to get guided by Jupiter. And if it is getting guided by Jupiter, and Jupiter is basically for expansion, growth, all these kind of things, so automatically the person would be an expansionist. The person would be an ambitious person, and the person is basically always going to be forward looking and growth oriented. So having these particular lines, backward kind of lines, pointing towards the mount of Jupiter, either from the headline or from the lifeline, it could be any one of them. Both indications are generally considered to be good signs for progress in one's life. You have to have that inclination in order to kind of reach up to a high position. Only then you're going to reach up to a high position. So those things become a priority in this particular person's case. The first thing is that. The second thing is that that these 2-3 lines you have already seen, these backward lines, these lines also, and a small line out here also which is barely visible. Now the other part is that as the line progresses, you'd notice that the intersection of the head, I've just drawn the headline, and the money line. This is basically the money line, the fate line, the Saturn line, whatever you can call it. This intersection is basically age 35, this intersection. So on the line of money, this portion of life is before the age of 35. On the line of money after the age of 35, this is the portion after the age of 35. On the headline, this portion of the headline is before the age of 35. So this is what I'm going to try to represent. You would notice that a line from Mars, this is the area of Mars negative. This is just the name. Mars negative is not always negative. It is a very positive planet. So don't think that Mars negative is anything to do with negativity. So Mars negative is the area of anger, aggression, and fire. And any line, any horizontal line, these are horizontal lines. These are parallel lines that are running parallel to the lifeline. These are good lines. These horizontal lines are considered to be negative kind of lines. So any line horizontally running and kind of touching any line, any other line, like the head and the money line, it's touching the head and the money line. So this portion of life becomes significant. And this portion, what happens in this portion of life is that few mental issues, because it is touching the mind line, and few financial issues can crop up. Now the thing is that this particular line that we are referring to, this is a comparatively weaker kind of a line. So weaker lines have got lesser significance compared to a stronger kind of a line. You would call this line to be a very, very strong kind of a line. So this has got great strength, that means great negative strength, but a weaker line would have lesser negative strength. So the problem is going to be there, but as such, if we take a look beyond this particular period on the headline, the effect of this negative line is barely visible, and the effect on the money line also is barely visible during this particular period after the age of 35. So the problem is going to come, but it's not going to be so great that the person goes down in his life. It's good. It's just going to be marginal kind of a problem that the person is likely to face. Now, when the problem comes, uh, in this particular age, the person does get a little bit of disturbed, so that is understandable. That is nothing. That is nothing abnormal or something like that. So when problems up, we have to see if the person is able to deal with problems or the person is not able to deal with any problems. So that portion we have to look at the heart line. This is basically the heart line, and we have to look at the headline. So the headline, if it is very long and strong headline doesn't mean intelligence. Strong headline means that strong mental boundaries. It means the mental strength, how much mental strength the person has. So if we are comparing the headline to the heartline, this is the heartline and this is the headline. So the headline is comparatively longer compared to the heartline, which means automatically the mental strength is going to be there and it's going to overpower the emotions as well. So the first thing is that the person is a very, very headstrong kind of a person. This is the first part. The second part is that the head is basically neat and clean, everything is there. So the mental strength is there, clarity of mind is there, all these things are there. But the other part is on the line of heart. If the heart line is deep and clear, it means that the person is focused, the person is totally dedicated, the person is kind of not falling for temptations. So people who do not have a heart line which is deep and clear and singular, this person has a very deep and singular kind of a line. Some people might have a broken kind of a line, something like this. Broken kind of a line. Those are the worst kind of lines. Basically, those are totally distracted kind of people, not focused, and they jump to one thing and then they change. They jump to one relationship, then second and third and fourth. They jump to one work, they end it abruptly, then jump to second work, third work, all those kind of things. But we do not see any such kind of a line. The person is focused, dedicated, and dedication and focus basically bring success. So there's no stress and anxiety as such. People who have these broken kind of lines, or if the heart line has too many branches over it, some people have got too many strong branches over it, that person is very distracted. But out here we do not see those kind of indication. The person is not flirtatious, the person is focused. So focus brings in success. And the heart line is also ending somewhere close to the mount of Saturn. So Saturn is all about responsibility, money management, and it is basically being grounded. So, and the person also targets towards money, because heart line ending somewhere close to the mount of Saturn depicts that the person is responsible and the person knows how to manage money. Once we talk about managing money and angling towards money, because the heart line angling towards Saturn means the person angles towards money. So when we talk about angling towards money, we also have to talk about, does the person knows how to calculate? But Saturn doesn't tell you that if you are good at calculations or not. Saturn just says that, are you angling towards money or are you not angling towards money? Are you responsible or are you irresponsible? So it doesn't tell about the calculation and the communication part. So the calculation and the communication part comes from the area of Mercury. Mercury is all about calculations, communication, technical skills, business skills. It could be engineering, medical, it could be lawyer, it could be orator, it could be writer, it could be any kind of skills that are basically depicted by the lines that we see on the mount of Mercury. So these are perpendicular lines that we see, and there's a long line that is angling towards the Mercury line. So these are very, very good lines. So people who have good lines, deep and clear lines, means that the person is kind of sharpening the skills. People who sharpen the skills are automatically going to be successful. There's a correlation between the skills of the person and the success. So it's kind of correlated. So this is a good aspect. And without a good Mercury, there can be a guarantee the person would would kind of make mistakes in the calculation and miscommunication. They would miscommunicate, and people who miscommunicate and miscalculate are not going to be successful. As such, if we find regarding the mount, as such, the mount, these mounts are not so prominent. The Jupiter mount, the Saturn mount is okay, the Sun mount is okay, but the Mercury mount and the Jupiter mount, they are not appearing to be very well padded, or as such, slight amount of padding. So as such, it's okay, but more the padding, more the memory. So it's kind of as such, there's no bad marking over it, but as such, the mount is not prominent. So there are two things. If the mount is prominent and well padded, it would bring richness to the mount. But as such, there is no richness to the mount, but as such, there is no negative aspect as well on the mount as well. So that's okay. And a line of money that starts from the mount of moon. This is basically the mount of moon. Moon basically signifies any line from the mount of moon, of money starting from the amount of moon, brings benefit from woman. Woman could be mother, it could be sister, it could be daughter, it could be female friend, it could be foreigners, in foreigners, male or female. Benefits coming to this particular person from faraway places. The person could also benefit from trading activity and service industry. All these benefits can come about. And in the initial period of your life, you would notice that the line is starting somewhere like this, and another branch is coming and joining in. So any branch joining into the main money line is considered to be a very good line. It kind of helps this particular person. But any line kind of going downward, pointing towards the amount of Mars, is generally a negative line. This line, I am a little bit doubtful that what do we call this particular line? Do we call it a line that is originating from the money line and pointing towards the lifeline, or it's the reverse? It's basically the lifeline and a branch from the lifeline is kind of downward. So both these cases are basically negative. This portion of the life on the lifeline, if we calculate, it's going to come somewhere close to around the age of 70 or so. This portion where the branch basically goes downwards in the age 70 or so. But if we take it from the point of view of the money line pointing towards the amount of Mars, this is basically negative at a very early age, probably 23, 24. That's the age I would say. Now as we move forward on the money line, the person age, we already know the person age is approximately 34, and this is the money line. I've already indicated what age, how to calculate it. The intersection is age 35. So the person could be somewhere out here. There's a crossing over of this line also. So crossing over of a line from the Mars, from one Mars to the other Mars. This is Mars positive, this is Mars negative. And there's also a marking on the Mars of Mars negative. So a mole on the Mars negative can give positive as well as negative result. That I would explain to you at a little bit later stage. But what we are talking about the money line. So a branch, again another branch from the amount of moon kind of joins in to the main money line. So this is again a good aspect. So this is age approximately 33 or so, when some benefit could have come in. The money line as such is stable. So a stable money line brings in stability to other aspects of the life as well, to the personal life. Although the finger of Mercury is short, finger of Mercury whenever short, it kind of creates distance between the near and dear ones, and near and dear ones change according to age. In the early period of our life, it's the parents, we grow further from them. At a later stage, it could be brother, it could be sister, and at the later stage, it's the wife or the children. So these things can happen if we find the Mercury line to be short. Now, as far as the money line, because money line also provides stability to our personal life. As such, the money line is perfect. So stability could be seen in spite of the Mercury finger to be short. The second thing is that somewhere at this particular point, there's a V-like portion. And this V-like portion is forming somewhere at the age of, if this is 35, this is 53, so somewhere in the middle is 44. So somewhere before the age of 44, around the age of 40, that's when few benefits, a very good time or period can start. This is one period that's going to be good. This V-like portion that you see out here, this V-like portion. And another line running parallel to the lifeline, sorry, the money line. This is the money line, and there's another line that is running parallel out here, this line pointing towards the amount of hours. This is a parallel income that is likely to develop somewhere close to the age of 37 or so, and this is quite strong, so it would give huge amount of strength and balance and support to the main income. It could be another person earning, or it could be a dual income in this particular person's case. Now this line I've already explained, the dual money line. Now we come to the sun line. The sun line out here, you would notice there's a V-like portion out here, and there's another line. So there are two strong lines on the amount of sun pointing towards the amount of sun, and it's a fairly strong line. So strong lines are generally considered to be good. It provides strength to the person's work, and it's going to be very stable kind of a work. Strong line means that the person is giving huge amount of energies to their work. Some people, some other palmists might call them a little bit different. Some palmists might say that these are the line of name and fame. I do agree to some extent that the sunlight, because sun shines, so it is basically to do with the name and fame. But apart from that, I would just say that whenever the person starts to give their energies, that's when the person's gets success. So the line of sun becomes somewhere prominent somewhere at this particular point. So this particular point is approximately age 44 or so. Above the heart line, the sun line age is beyond the age of 53. But this is what the book says. Above the heart line, the ages, this portion of life is after the age of 53. This is what the book says, that how to calculate. They would say that book would say that if a line is something like this, so this portion of life is before the age of 35, this portion is 35 to 53, and this portion is after the age of 53. So in this particular hand, you would notice that there's no sun line as such out here. So you don't need to have a sun line out here. If you just need to have a sun line out here, which is fairly strong, that in itself completes everything. That is the best possible kind of a line, I would say. So this is one aspect. One a little bit negative aspect I can see is I have to basically, when I talk to this person, I would come to know as such all the lines are deep and clear. These lines are all deep and clear. This is the money line, this is the headline, this is the heart line, the sun line. Everything is deep and clear. Only the lifeline, you'd notice that it is a little bit broad. There's broadness in the line of life. So broad lines are generally not considered to be the best kind of lines, because broad lines kind of reduces the quality. So health needs a little bit care, although there's no break, there's nothing, no wrong indications on the lifeline, zero wrong indications on the lifeline, but yet I would still go on to say that greater care needs to be taken for life energies. And although there's a broadness, but apart from broadness, there's a supporting lifeline that you can see. Supporting lifeline kind of supports this particular person. It kind of brings in fighting abilities, fighting against difficult people and difficult situations, and coming out as winners. I'll just take a brief look at the other hands as well. The one more thing, I would say that the thumb is bending a little bit backwards, backward thumb, and it's kind of bending really backwards. So what it does, it kind of makes a person very experimental kind. The person loves to experiment, and the person loves changes. This is what the person wants. And let me just quickly take a look at the left hand as well. There's not much difference between the left and the right in normally most of the cases. In few cases they are different. Majorly the line of Mercury, you can see, is neat and clean. Just one moment please, one moment. So this is the left hand, and in the left hand as well we find that the Mercury finger is really short. Although in my real life scenarios, what I've seen is a short Mercury line. In books it says that it's not such a good indication, but whenever I see it practically, I find those people to be highly educated and even to the level of PhD. But and I've also seen chancellors, vice chancellors having a very short Mercury line. Probably what it can do is that it kind of increases the thirst towards knowledge. That could be a thing. So they constantly keep on they studying and constantly educating themselves to a higher degree. So this could be the aspect that might be playing about. And I think that's it for this particular video. I hope you liked this particular video. If you liked it, press the bell icon on YouTube. Don't miss another update. Before I end this video, I just repeat something that I repeat in almost all my videos. You can come to know about money from almost all aspects of your palm. It can be your heart, head, life, sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or any other line or any other planet on the palm. And money line importance is just 15% in the palm. And a saint once said, you do not need to go to a palmist or an astrologer to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you are doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. One last thing, company matters the most. And if the person has got good company, it's going to like all the negative aspects that whatever I might have said in the palm, those might not apply. And if the person has a bad company, then basically what's going to happen is that everything, even if the hand has got all the negative positive aspects, they are going to play out in a negative way. That is the reason I give too much of importance to the this particular aspect. One last thing I would add regarding the money line on the left hand. Now what is happening is that this is basically the money line. This is the early period of one's life. Now there's a break somewhere happening somewhere at the age of, it's before the intersection of the head and the money line. So this portion of the life where it ends is approximately 30 to 33. Another line comes and joins the main money line. This is a good aspect. It's something like a river. This river is flowing and another tributary comes and joins the main river. So more flow comes into place during this particular period. So this portion of life becomes better. So this portion could be somewhere 29 or so. That's when things can better. Sometimes the joining end of the money line could also be timing of the marriage. It could also be that, but sometimes it could be just purely help from somebody or the other. The other aspect is, as the line progresses, the line ends somewhere out here. So whenever the money line ends, so that brings about problems, and the problems could be not necessarily only financial. It could be financial because this is the money line that we are referring to. It could be otherwise as well. It could be something like, first thing could be business loss or job loss. The second could be the main earning member of the family that's get affected, probably the parents or somebody else that's get affected. So more responsibility falls onto this particular person's head. The third could be that the personal life gets disturbed, because break in the money line could also bring about disturbances in the personal life. Then again a new line basically develops somewhere out here, and that kind of overtakes somewhere at the age of 30 to 33 or so, and that basically progresses. Now this line also, what happens is that this line also kind of loses its strength before it, around the age of 34 or so, and as it progresses it kind of weakens, and by the age of 44 it kind of vanishes. Then new line develops somewhere at the age of 42 to around 50. Then another small line is there, but that's barely visible. And then above the heart line there's no money line as such out here. So although these lines are coming and crossing over, so but the main line is this. But left hand is not the active hand. That's the reason why we would take into account the right hand as such. Now a triangle like formation out here on the line of sun is considered to be good. A Y-like portion is also considered to be good. It brings in strength to the one's profession and makes it very significant. And that's it for Now I hope you like this video. Click on the press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.